Hello, and welcome to TerraNash. I'm Aiden, your narrator for tonight. Let's take this time together to step away from the rush of the day and ease into a world of dreams and wonder. Tonight, I'll tell you a story about the journey of a courageous heart in the ancient lands of Old Valyria, where dragons once soared and legends were born. But before we begin, we'd love to hear from you. Where are you listening from, and what time is it as you settle in to hear this story? We'd also love to know what kinds of stories you'd enjoy next. Your thoughts and suggestions inspire us, so please share them in the comments below. If you'd like even more from us, you can check out our Patreon for early access to all our stories and a curated Spotify playlist as well. Oh, and I wanted to share an important update with you. Currently, less than 10% of our viewers are subscribed to the channel, which means more than 90% of you haven't subscribed yet. If you've been enjoying our bedtime stories, subscribing is a simple and free way to support us. Reaching 1,000 subscribers will allow us to remove all mid-roll ads, ensuring a completely uninterrupted and relaxing experience for you. Your support means the world to us, and together we can make TerraNash an even more peaceful place for storytelling. Now, as you settle deeper into this moment, take a slow breath in and gently let it go. Feel your shoulders soften, your mind ease, and the weight of the day fade into the distance. There's nothing you need to do but listen. Nothing to fix or change. Just allow yourself to be here, completely present and at peace. Let the sound of my voice and the unfolding story guide you into calm, like the gentle waves lapping against a quiet shore. With each breath, sink a little deeper into relaxation. Our story is about to begin. Close your eyes if you like, or simply rest as we journey together into a world of ancient wonder. Let's begin. Elara stood on the charred cliffs of Old Valyria, her gaze fixed on the horizon, where smoke curled lazily into the sky. The ancient land was both beautiful and broken, a testament to a time when dragons ruled and magic flowed freely through the air like the currents of the sea. The wind carried the faint scent of ash and salt, a lingering reminder of the fiery past that had shaped this realm. Despite the desolation, there was a strange serenity here, a quiet hum beneath the surface that beckoned dreamers like her to listen closely. She pulled her cloak tighter against the cool breeze, her fingers tracing the edge of a small, polished stone hanging from a leather cord around her neck. It was smooth and warm to the touch, a gift from her mother, who had often spoken of the wonders hidden in this once great land. "Follow the song, Elara," her mother had whispered on her deathbed. "It will lead you to your destiny." Elara never quite understood what her mother had meant, but tonight, under the fading light of the setting sun, she thought she heard it. The faintest melody carried by the wind, elusive and haunting. Her heart quickened as she strained to hear more, stepping closer to the edge where the cliffs crumbled into jagged rocks below. The song seemed to pulse in time with her heartbeat, drawing her towards something ancient and powerful. "Foolish girl," a gruff voice broke through her trance. "You'll fall to your death chasing shadows." Elara spun around to see an old man with wild silver hair and eyes as sharp as flint. He leaned heavily on a twisted staff, his expression a mix of irritation and concern. "I wasn't," she began, but the words faltered on her tongue. He snorted. "Of course you were. You hear it, don't you? The Song of Emberheart." Elara's breath caught in her throat. "You know about it?" The man nodded solemnly. "Aye, and if you're wise, you'll forget it. That song has led many to ruin." "But my mother said..." "Your mother was a dreamer, just like you." His voice softened. "But dreams won't save you from what lies ahead." Elara's resolve hardened. "I'm not afraid." The old man studied her for a long moment before sighing heavily. "Then perhaps there's hope for you yet. Come, if you're determined to follow the song, you'll need more than stubbornness to survive." Without waiting for a response, he turned and began walking toward a narrow path that wound down the cliffs. Elara hesitated only for a moment before following him, the melody growing stronger with each step. The path was treacherous, littered with loose stones that threatened to send Elara tumbling into the abyss below. The old man moved with surprising agility despite his hunched frame, his staff tapping rhythmically against the ground as he led the way. Shadows danced around them as the last rays of sunlight faded, casting the landscape in hues of deep crimson and indigo. "What's your name?" Elara asked, struggling to keep up. "Names are like secrets," he said cryptically, "best kept to oneself." Elara frowned. "Well, I'm Elara." He glanced back at her with a wry smile. "Brave enough to share your name with a stranger. You might just survive this journey after all." They walked in silence for a while, the only sound the crunch of gravel beneath their feet and the distant echo of the song that seemed to shimmer in the air around them. Elara couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched, though whether by friend or foe, she couldn't say. "Where are we going?" she finally asked. "To a place where the song is strongest," the old man replied. "A hidden glen untouched by time or ruin. If you're meant to find your destiny, it'll be there." Elara's curiosity burned brighter. "How do you know about it?" He paused, his expression growing somber. "Because I once followed the song too." The weight of his words hung heavily between them. Elara wanted to ask more, but sensed that now wasn't the time. Instead, she focused on placing one foot carefully in front of the other, determined not to let fear or doubt take hold. As they rounded a bend in the path, the landscape opened up to reveal a breathtaking view. Below them lay a vast expanse of verdant forest, its canopy shimmering with flecks of gold and silver in the moonlight. A river wound through the trees like a ribbon of liquid light, its surface reflecting the stars above. "Beautiful, isn't it?" the old man said quietly. "But don't let its beauty fool you. This land is as dangerous as it is enchanting." Elara nodded, her heart pounding with a mix of awe and anticipation. She could feel the song pulling her toward the glen, its melody stronger and more insistent than ever. "Stay close," the old man warned. "The path ahead is riddled with shadows, and not all of them are friendly." Elara's grip tightened around the stone at her neck as she followed him down the winding path. Whatever lay ahead, she knew there was no turning back now. The song had called to her, and she would see this journey through to the end, no matter what it cost. The glen was unlike anything Elara had ever seen, even in her wildest dreams. Lush greenery stretched in every direction, sparkling faintly as though kissed by starlight. Flowers in colors she couldn't name bloomed between ancient trees, with trunks wide enough to house entire families. The air was thick with a scent both sweet and wild, mingling with the faint melody that had guided her here. It was louder now, not just a song, but a living presence that seemed woven into the fabric of this enchanted place. Elara slowed her steps, mesmerized by the surreal beauty. The old man, whose name she still did not know, moved ahead without pause, his gnarled staff tapping rhythmically against the soft earth. She quickened her pace to keep up, but her gaze kept wandering to the shimmering leaves and mysterious shadows flickering just out of reach. "Eyes forward," he grunted, without turning around. "The glen plays tricks on dreamers." Elara tore her eyes from a strange vine that twisted into the shape of a dragon's wing. "What do you mean?" "The song isn't just a melody, it's a lure," he said gravely. "If you let it, it'll lead you astray, deeper into the woods, until you're lost forever." Elara's brow furrowed. "Then why bring me here?" "Because not every song is a trap," he admitted. "Some songs are meant to be answered, but only if you're strong enough to hold your ground." Before she could ask what he meant, the song swelled, rich and intoxicating. It filled the air, resonating deep within her chest. Her legs moved of their own accord, carrying her forward toward the heart of the glen. Her breath quickened, every instinct urging her to chase the melody to its source. The old man's voice cut through the haze like a blade. "Resist it, Elara. Focus." She clenched her fists, willing herself to stop. The pull of the song was nearly unbearable, but she planted her feet firmly on the ground, refusing to be swept away. The melody faltered, then softened, as though testing her resolve. The old man nodded approvingly. "Good. You've got fire in you." Elara swallowed hard. "What now?" "Now," he said grimly, "we face the Guardian." A low rumble echoed through the glen, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The trees trembled, and the shimmering leaves dimmed as darkness gathered at the edge of the clearing. Elara's heart raced as a massive form emerged from the shadows, scaled, serpentine, and glowing faintly with embers beneath its bronze hide. Its eyes, ancient and knowing, locked onto her with an intensity that stole her breath. "Aetheris," the old man whispered reverently. the last of the ember-hearted dragons. Elara's pulse thundered in her ears. The dragon loomed before them, majestic and terrifying. Its wings stretched wide, shimmering with hues of copper and sapphire. Smoke curled from its nostrils, and the air around it crackled with energy. "Speak carefully, girl," the old man warned. "The Guardian listens not just to words, but to the truth in your heart." Elara took a shaky breath, stepping forward despite the fear gripping her chest. "I seek the song," she said, her voice trembling, but resolute. "I was called here, just like my mother said I would be." The dragon's eyes narrowed, its gaze piercing through her defenses. For a long, agonizing moment, silence hung heavy in the air. Then, to her astonishment, the dragon lowered its head, exhaling a plume of warm smoke that wrapped around her like a protective cloak. "You are worthy," a voice rumbled, not from the old man, but from the dragon itself. Elara's breath caught in her throat. "You can speak?" The dragon's lips curled into what might have been a smile. "Only to those who listen." The glen seemed to hold its breath as the dragon's voice reverberated through the air. Elara stood rooted to the spot, her mind struggling to comprehend what was happening. The ancient tales her mother had told her about Valyrian dragons seemed distant and small compared to the living, breathing wonder before her. Aetheris's gaze softened as he regarded her. "You carry the song within you, child. That is why you were called here." Elara's fingers tightened around the stone at her neck. "I don't understand. What does the song mean?" "It is the thread that binds all things," Aetheris explained. "Fire, wind, stone, and spirit all sing their own melody. Few can hear it. Fewer still can wield it." Elara's pulse quickened. "Why me?" The dragon's eyes gleamed with ancient wisdom. "Because your heart remains unbroken by greed or fear. You seek not power, but purpose. That makes you rare, even in a world long gone to ruin." The old man, who had remained silent until now, cleared his throat. "The song has chosen you, girl, but be warned. Accepting it comes at a price." Elara's gaze flicked between him and the dragon. "What kind of price?" Aetheris's voice was gentle but firm. "To follow the song is to carry its burden. You will hear the cries of the world, feel its joys and sorrows as your own. It is a path of both wonder and weight." Elara's chest tightened. The thought of bearing such responsibility was daunting, yet something within her yearned to embrace it. The song was a part of her now, as natural as breath itself. "I'll do it," she said quietly, yet with unwavering conviction. The old man sighed heavily. "Stubborn, just like your mother." Aetheris inclined his great head. "Very well. Then you shall become the keeper of the Emberheart." Before Elara could ask what that meant, the dragon let out a deep, resonant hum that filled the glen with light and warmth. the melody wrapped around her, seeping into her very bones. She felt weightless, as though she were dissolving into the song itself. Visions danced before her eyes. Flashes of ancient battles, soaring dragons, and a world reborn from ash. When the light faded, Elara stood in stunned silence. The stone around her neck pulsed with newfound energy, its warmth spreading through her chest. She felt stronger, more whole than she ever had before. "The song is yours now," Aetheris said solemnly. "Guard it well." Elara met the dragon's gaze, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. The dragon's lips curled into a faint smile. "Farewell, Keeper." With a powerful beat of its wings, Aetheris rose into the sky, disappearing into the stars. The glen shimmered once more with its ethereal beauty, but Elara knew it would never be the same. The old man clapped her on the shoulder, his expression both proud and wistful. "You did well, girl." Elara smiled faintly. "I couldn't have done it without you." He chuckled. "Don't give me too much credit. This was always your journey." As they made their way back toward the path leading out of the glen, Elara felt the weight of her new role settling onto her shoulders. But instead of fear, there was only peace. She had found her purpose, and she would carry it with strength and grace. The song would guide her, and through her, it would never be forgotten. The journey back from the glen was steeped in quiet contemplation. The song still lingered in Elara's mind, weaving through her thoughts like a gentle river current. Its presence was no longer overwhelming, but steady and calming, as though it had always been a part of her. The old man walked beside her, his staff tapping rhythmically against the ground, but he made no attempt at conversation. Perhaps he sensed the questions swirling within her, or perhaps he was lost in his own reflections. As they approached the edge of the glen, a soft breeze rustled through the trees, carrying with it the faint scent of salt from the distant sea. The ancient path they had followed now seemed brighter, as if the shadows that once lingered there had been lifted. Elara's steps were lighter too, though a newfound sense of responsibility settled heavily in her chest. "What happens now?" she finally asked, breaking the silence. The old man glanced at her from beneath his hood. "That depends on you, Keeper. The song is yours to carry, but how you use it is your choice." Elara frowned. "It feels like more than just a gift. It's alive." He nodded thoughtfully. "The song is life itself, intertwined with every living thing. You'll find that it responds to your intentions, but it can also challenge you. Just as fire warms and destroys, the song can heal or harm." A shiver ran down her spine. "I don't want to hurt anyone." "Then let your heart be your guide," he advised gently. "The song chose you because it saw something within you: compassion, courage, and a desire for harmony. Trust that." They continued walking until they reached a wide clearing bathed in golden light. Wildflowers swayed gently in the breeze, and the sound of distant waves echoed softly in the background. Elara paused, taking in the beauty of the moment. "Do you ever regret hearing the song?" she asked quietly. The old man's expression grew wistful. "There was a time when I resented it, yes. I thought it was a burden too heavy to bear. But over the years, I came to see it for what it truly is. A gift that connects us to something greater than ourselves." Elara nodded slowly, understanding dawning within her. "Then I'll honor it. I'll protect the song and use it to bring peace wherever I can." The old man smiled faintly. "Good. But remember, peace is not always the absence of conflict. Sometimes it's the courage to face it head on." As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting long shadows across the clearing, a distant figure appeared on the horizon. Elara's heart skipped a beat as recognition dawned. It was her mother, standing tall and proud, with a look of relief and joy on her face. "Elara," she called, her voice carrying over the gentle breeze. Tears welled up in Elara's eyes as she broke into a run, closing the distance between them. Her mother enveloped her in a warm embrace, holding her tightly as though afraid to let go. "I knew you would find your way," her mother whispered. "I had help," Elara said, glancing back at the old man, but he was gone, vanished like a shadow in the fading light. Her mother smiled knowingly. "Some guides are meant to walk with us only for a time." Elara nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude for the journey she had undertaken and the lessons she had learned. The days that followed were filled with quiet reflection and newfound purpose. Elara returned to her village with her mother, but she was no longer the same person who had left in search of answers. The song thrummed gently within her, a constant reminder of the connection she now shared with the world around her. Life in the village had its familiar rhythms. Fishermen casting their nets at dawn, children laughing as they played near the shoreline, and the scent of freshly baked bread wafting through the air. Yet everything seemed more vibrant to Elara, as though she was seeing it all for the first time. Her mother watched her with a mixture of pride and curiosity. "You've changed," she remarked one evening as they sat by the fire. Elara smiled softly. "The glen changed me. The song did." Her mother's gaze grew distant. "I remember hearing it once, long ago, but I was never meant to carry it. That honor was always yours." Elara reached for her mother's hand. "Thank you for guiding me, even when I didn't understand." Her mother squeezed her hand gently. "It was never my path to walk, but I'm glad I could help you find yours." As the fire crackled and shadows danced across the walls, a sense of peace settled over them. But Elara knew that her journey was far from over. The song was a call to action, a responsibility she could not ignore. One afternoon, as she stood on the cliffs overlooking the sea, a figure approached from the path below. It was a young man with windswept hair and a determined expression. He carried a staff similar to the old man's, though it lacked the weathered marks of time. "You must be Elara," he said, his voice steady but respectful. She raised an eyebrow. "Who's asking?" He smiled faintly. "My name is Kaelin. The elders sent me. They said you might need help." Elara studied him for a moment, sensing no malice but rather an earnest desire to be of service. "Help with what?" "The song," he said simply. "It's not just here in your village. There are places beyond this horizon that are out of balance, places where the song has been twisted or silenced altogether." Elara's heart quickened. She had felt the echoes of those disturbances, faint but undeniable. "And you think I can fix it?" Kaelin nodded. "Not alone, but together, we might stand a chance." A surge of determination swept through Elara. She had promised to honor the song, and now it was calling her to a greater purpose. "Then let's not waste any time," she said firmly. Kaelin's smile widened. "I was hoping you'd say that." As they set off down the winding path, the sea glinting like molten gold beneath the afternoon sun, Elara felt a renewed sense of purpose. The journey ahead would be challenging, but she was ready to face it. The song had chosen her, and she would carry it forward, bringing harmony to a world that had forgotten how to listen. The path stretched before Elara and Kaelin, winding through dense forests and across rolling hills. The world beyond the village was vast and untamed, filled with ancient secrets and echoes of forgotten melodies. Each step carried them deeper into the unknown, yet Elara felt a strange sense of familiarity, as though the song within her guided their every movement. Birds sang in harmony with the rustling leaves, their notes blending seamlessly with the gentle breeze. Kaelin walked beside her, his staff tapping rhythmically against the ground. Though their journey had only just begun, a quiet bond had already formed between them. "What made you decide to come?" Elara asked, breaking the comfortable silence. Kaelin glanced at her, his expression thoughtful. "I heard the song once, when I was a child. My village was caught in a terrible storm. Lightning, floods, chaos everywhere. I was terrified. But then, I heard it, faint but steady, cutting through the noise. It led me to safety." Elara's brow furrowed. "You heard the song before becoming a guide?" He nodded. "It's rare, but not impossible. I think that's why the elders chose me. They believed I could understand what you're carrying." Elara considered this. "And you never forgot it?" "Never," Kaelin said firmly. "It changed everything for me, just like it's changing everything for you." They continued in companionable silence until they reached a narrow gorge. A wooden bridge spanned the chasm, swaying gently in the wind. The planks creaked ominously underfoot as Kaelin tested the first few steps. "It's sturdy enough," he assured her, though there was a hint of doubt in his voice. Elara hesitated. The drop below was dizzying, the river far beneath them glinting like a silver thread. But the song pulsed within her, steady and reassuring, urging her forward. Taking a deep breath, she stepped onto the bridge. The wind whipped around them as they crossed, each step requiring careful balance. Halfway across, a sudden gust sent the bridge swaying violently. Elara's heart raced, but she clung tightly to the ropes, focusing on the song's steady rhythm to calm her nerves. "We're almost there," Kaelin called over the wind, his voice steady despite the peril. With a final determined push, They reached the other side. Elara exhaled sharply, relief washing over her. "That was exhilarating," she said breathlessly. Kaelin laughed. "A bit more excitement than I planned for today." As they moved away from the edge of the gorge, the landscape opened into a serene valley. Wildflowers blanketed the ground in vibrant hues, and a crystalline stream wound its way through the meadow. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming blossoms. "This place is beautiful," Elara murmured, awe in her voice. Kaelin's gaze was serious. "It wasn't always like this. The song was once silenced here, and the land suffered, but harmony was restored, and now it thrives." Elara nodded thoughtfully. "It gives me hope that we can bring balance to the places still in chaos." Kaelin's eyes gleamed with determination. "We will, together." The tranquility of the valley was short-lived. As dusk settled over the landscape, an eerie stillness crept in, the cheerful chatter of birds and insects fading into an unsettling silence. The sky, once painted in hues of gold and pink, darkened with ominous clouds. Elara felt the shift immediately, a discordant note vibrating through the air, sharp and jarring against the melody within her. Her breath quickened as unease coiled in her chest. "Do you feel that?" she asked Kaelin, her voice tense. He nodded grimly. "Something's wrong." They followed the stream deeper into the valley, their senses on high alert. The once clear water now shimmered with an unnatural darkness, as though tainted by an unseen force. Trees that had stood tall and proud now sagged under an invisible weight, their leaves withering before their eyes. "This land is wounded," Elara whispered, her heart aching at the sight. Kaelin's grip on his staff tightened. "We need to find the source of the corruption." As they pressed forward, a chilling wind swept through the valley, carrying with it whispers that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere all at once. Elara strained to make sense of the fragmented voices, but they eluded her grasp. "Stay close," Kaelin urged, his tone protective. Elara nodded, drawing strength from the song within her. It pulsed more strongly now, pushing back against the discord that threatened to overwhelm the valley. They came upon a clearing where the ground was scorched and barren, devoid of life. In the center stood a towering figure cloaked in shadows, its form shifting and writhing like smoke caught in a storm. Red eyes glowed ominously from within the darkness. Elara's breath caught in her throat. "What is that?" Kaelin's expression was grim. "A manifestation of chaos. It feeds on imbalance, growing stronger as harmony weakens." The figure let out a guttural snarl, the sound reverberating through the clearing. The ground trembled beneath their feet as tendrils of shadow snaked toward them. Elara's pulse pounded in her ears, but she stood her ground. "We have to stop it." Kaelin glanced at her, admiration flickering in his eyes despite the danger. "I hope you know what you're doing." "So do I," Elara admitted, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. Closing her eyes, she reached deep within herself, seeking the song's core. It flared brightly, a beacon of light amidst the encroaching darkness. The melody filled her senses, pushing back the fear and doubt that threatened to consume her. As the song flowed through her, Elara raised her hands, channeling its energy toward the shadowy figure. The light surged forward, colliding with the darkness in a blinding explosion of sound and color. The chaos writhed and roared, fighting desperately to maintain its hold on the valley. Kalen joined her, his own energy merging with hers in a harmonious blend of strength and resolve. Together, they pushed back against the darkness, their combined will overpowering the manifestation of chaos. With a final, anguished scream, the figure dissolved into nothingness, its tendrils disintegrating into wisps of smoke that faded into the night. The valley trembled one last time before falling into a profound stillness. The tainted water cleared, the trees straightened, and the scent of blossoms returned to the air. Life began to pulse once more through the land, vibrant and full of promise. Elara opened her eyes, her breath ragged but triumphant. Kalen stood beside her, a weary but victorious smile on his face. "You did it," he said quietly. "We did it," Elara corrected, gratitude filling her heart. As they stood in the renewed valley, the song thrummed gently within her, a reminder that harmony, once lost, could always be found again. Night fell gently over the restored valley, the stars shimmering like scattered diamonds across a velvet sky. The air was sweet and crisp, carrying the scent of renewed blossoms and fresh earth. Despite the victory, Elara and Kalen's journey was far from over. They set up camp near the stream, the water now clear and sparkling under the moonlight. A fire crackled between them, its warmth soothing the lingering tension in Elara's chest. She stared into the flickering flames, the events of the day replaying in her mind. The clash between light and shadow had left an indelible mark on her spirit. Kalen broke the silence, his voice low but steady. "You handled yourself well today. Not many could face chaos and come out stronger." Elara smiled faintly. "I didn't know I had it in me. The song, it guided me. It felt like it was a part of something larger, something ancient." Kalen nodded thoughtfully. "The song connects everything, land, water, sky, and even us. When harmony is disrupted, the song weakens, but when it thrives, so does life." She tilted her head, curiosity flickering in her eyes. "Have you ever wondered where the song comes from?" "All the time," Kalen admitted. "Some say it was born from the stars. Others believe it's the voice of the earth itself. I like to think it's both, a bridge between the seen and unseen." They sat in companionable silence, the crackling fire and gentle rustle of leaves creating a soothing symphony. Elara's thoughts drifted to the path ahead. Though they had restored balance to the valley, she sensed that their journey was only beginning. "The chaos we face today," she said quietly, "it won't be the last, will it?" Kalen's expression grew serious. "No. There are other places where imbalance festers, places that need healing. But we're not alone in this. The song will guide us. Elara nodded, determination settling in her chest. Then we'll keep going. We'll restore harmony wherever it's needed. As the fire burned low, sleep tugged at their weary bodies. Elara lay back on the soft grass, the stars above seeming to hum in harmony with the song within her. Kaylin's steady breathing beside her was a comforting reminder that she wasn't alone in this journey. The night wrapped around them like a protective cloak, and for the first time in a long while, Elara felt truly at peace. The dawn broke gently over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and rose. Elara awoke to the sound of birdsong, their cheerful melodies weaving effortlessly into the song within her. She stretched, the stiffness from the previous day's trials fading beneath the warmth of the morning sun. Kaylin was already awake, tending to the remnants of their fire. He looked up as she approached, a smile tugging at the corners of his lips. "Morning." "Morning," she replied, her voice soft with lingering sleep. They shared a simple breakfast of foraged berries and fresh water from the stream. The air was filled with a sense of renewal, as though the land itself was rejoicing in its newfound harmony. As they prepared to continue their journey, Elara felt a subtle shift in the song. It was lighter, freer, as though unburdened by the chaos that had once plagued the valley. Kaylin noticed it too. "The land sings again," he said, his voice filled with quiet wonder. Elara smiled. "It's beautiful." They walked side by side, the path ahead illuminated by the soft glow of morning light. The challenges they had faced seemed distant now, mere echoes of a past that had shaped but not defined them. "Where do you think the path will lead us next?" Elara asked, curiosity sparking in her eyes. Kaylin's expression was thoughtful. "Wherever the song is needed most. The world is vast, and there are still places waiting to be healed." Elara nodded, a sense of purpose filling her. "Then let's keep moving. There's work to be done." As they ventured deeper into the wilderness, the landscape shifted from rolling meadows to dense forests and rugged mountains. The air grew cooler, tinged with the scent of pine and earth. Despite the uncertainty of the path ahead, Elara felt a quiet confidence blooming within her. They passed through villages where the people greeted them with warmth and gratitude, their lives touched by the song's healing presence. Children laughed and played, their joy a testament to the restored harmony. Each step brought them closer to the heart of their journey. A journey not just of healing the land, but of understanding the true nature of the song itself. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the world in a golden glow, Elara and Kaylin paused on a hilltop overlooking a vast expanse of wilderness. The song thrummed gently within her, a reminder of the beauty and resilience of life. Kaylin's voice broke the silence. "We've come far, but there's still so much to discover." Elara's gaze was steady. "And we will. Together." The wind carried their words into the distance, a promise etched into the fabric of the world. The journey was far from over, but for now, there was peace. And in that peace, Elara found strength, knowing that wherever the song led them, they would follow. with hearts open and spirits unyielding.